Hey everybody, welcome back to Bookish and Bearded. Today we're going to be doing a wrap-up of September and my October TBR with my little TBR jar. To get things started, we'll go ahead and go over everything I read over the last month and a half. I think it's been a little while since I've done one of these. But we'll start with my favorite read of the last month, and that is Anathema by Carrie Lake. Dude, this was such a good read. I gave it 4.5 stars, and I can kind of go over why. So I've been really excited to read this. Uh, However, it was good for reasons that I wasn't expecting. When I went into this, I was going off of everything I've told y'all. People were saying that it was equivalent to One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. Do not go into this thinking that is what you're reading, because they are not even close to the same. This is way more dark, way more dark romance, and they are not the same. So the MMC is a big tatted masked individual who he basically kills everyone. He's the king's assassin. He's in a foreign realm. And the main female in this is a little gothic girl growing up in a gothic village where witches are like, kind of like old 18th century. If you kind of think someone's a witch, they cast them out into these woods where they're never seen again. The woods, no one knows anything about them other than like once you step through this little, it looks like a portal. You never come back through. And I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil anything. I took off half a star. It was like a quarter each. So I took off 0.25 because I love dark romance tropes. However, the author of this tried to fit every single trope you could ever imagine into this. So if there's a dark romance trope you enjoy, I guarantee it's in here. Everything from one bed to he's a million-year-old fae warrior who's tatted and masked, and she's an 18-year-old virgin human. I mean, it's just every single trope you could think of that would be in a book like this is in here. It didn't bother me a whole lot, but enough to take off a little bit. And then the other is there are some outrageous things that are said in this, but they are spread out and super random. To the point where I did like triple, quadruple takes on some of the phrases that were just like either super sexual, but in like random places in time, like they just didn't belong, to things that were just so violent and graphic that they just came out of nowhere. And for that reason, I took off a quarter. They, they were just so unexpected. It was so random that I was like baffled when they said some of the things in this. But yeah, that's this one. If you're looking for dark, really dark graphic romance, this would be your book. It is freaking, like I said, it is dark romance to the utmost. The next book is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I started this trilogy about a month ago, and this book was phenomenal as well. I gave it 4.5 stars also. But it is YA, so it is not nearly as graphic, dark, adult as the other one, but it is just as cute and very fun to read. This one is a human girl is living her life, and then someone comes into her house, kills her family, and takes her back to the Fae world where the man that murdered her family raises her. And he is an elf, and living in an elf world where everyone plays tricks, and it's really hard to blend in. I took off half a star. I don't want to give spoilers. A main character in this really frustrated me a lot, and I am hoping she gets what's coming to her in the next 2 books, but it was so frustrating to deal with. She is really annoying, but other than that, super fun book, very YA. And if you're looking for like like not typical, but like just your Fey Prince type book, this is what you'll want to read. Next is Fall I Want by Lyra Parrish. I DNF this one. So I gave it not so much of a chance as I usually do. I think I made it to 100 pages. I could not stand the MMC in this. He is a millionaire businessman or famous guy who comes into this small town, and his whole thing is he is an asshole. He's a jerk. He treats the FMC like dirt. She seems to love it, which is cool. Whatever this woman's into, she can have. I did not like. He would say something to her, belittle her, do something to like, uh, just be a jerk. I mean, he even internally was like, loved that he was a jerk and would smirk about it. And she was into it. Her friends were into it. Everyone around him loved that he was a rich millionaire who was hot and that he degraded people. That is not my vibe at all. Maybe he gets redemption. Even if he does, that would probably make me hate this even more. I'm just not a big fan of MMCs like that. And then the last book is A Tale of Mirth and Magic by Kirsten Bell. Kristen Bell. This book I also DNF'd. I got a little further into it. I got about 3/4 of the way through the book. Oh boy, where to start with this? So I ranted and raved about it the first like 20 to 30 pages, and then it starts to fall off. This is about a thick, fiery elf, and she is a very dominant woman. And then the main male in this is a big, gentle giant, and he is very submissive, except for when he like needs to be. He kind of stands up to people. They get together, and their love story is very cute. I liked them as a couple, and then it becomes a lot. Uh, how do I explain this? So these two both like everything, everyone, everything, every shape, size, everything. Apples, bananas, watermelons, you name it. So, which is great, I guess, but it's also every character you meet in this entire book wants to do stuff with every single person of every shape, size, and thing, to the point where it's almost becomes a giant orgy, and it just was not my vibe. It's very weird, and it was escalating even more so. Like it gets wild to the point where I was like, okay, is this ever gonna stop? Like it's just, and she starts to give her point of view on things and thinks it's okay to like cheat because everybody cheats, and they both just are like, it gets really weird and sexual and over sexualizes everything and every person in this, and I just couldn't take it anymore, and that is why I DNF this one. So those are the 4 books I read. The Cruel Prince and Anathema by far being my favorite of the 4. If you're wanting good, wholesome YA elves, Cruel Prince. If you're wanting dark, shadow daddy, tatted, masked, crazy dark romance, Anathema. Let's get into picking some new books for this upcoming month of October with my handy dandy prompt jar. And the first prompt is going to be a book with a moon on the cover. That is extremely specific. So I'll see if I have more than like one, if I have any, and get back to you. All right, so I have 2 with moons on them. The first is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana, and The X-Hex by Aaron Sterling. And I probably have more in here. I guess that's not as hard to find as I thought it would be. Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches seems like it is a romance, but more so geared towards the witches. And then the X-Hex seems like a romance, but more geared towards uh, the romance side or Halloween. So this one says never mix vodka and witchcraft. Sounds like it would be funny, her hexing her ex. So that's the one I'm going to go with, I think. That sounds like a better read to me. The XX. The next prompt, let's see, is book wife loved that I haven't read yet. So let me go get my wife. All right, my wife picked Mortal Queens by Victoria McCombs. That is this book. This is about a realm where every year a young lady is picked to go to this Fey island or realm and are never seen again. And this is about the main character being picked. I believe this is YA. I believe it's closed door. And I believe it's romantasy with political intrigue. If I am incorrect, my wife will correct me and I'll throw it up right here. But I'm pretty sure that's the premise of this. I just know my wife absolutely loved this book, and her book club friends that read it as well all really, really enjoyed it. So I was going to read it anyways. So I'm very excited that she picked this for me. The next prompt is going to be a standalone. That's a good prompt. Let's see what standalone books I can find. All right, a standalone. I'm going to pick Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. I love sentient beings and things, and I'm pretty sure the premise of this is this woman has a sword that has a soul or a life or something trapped in it that she's mentally talking to, and starts to fall for it in some way, shape, or form. Either way, I've heard nothing but amazing things about this, and it is a standalone book that I've been dying to read. So hopefully this month will be the month I can get to it. We'll do a couple more just so I have some options for the month. The next prompt is a love triangle. There we go. Let's see if I can find any of these that have a love triangle in it. All right, so I am going to go with One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I know nothing about this author or this book. It is just the only one I could find that online said is a love triangle. From what I gather, it is this lady is married, her husband passes away, she moves on, and then he comes back, he wasn't dead. That sounds like a love triangle to me. I don't know much about it, but yeah, I'm always down to try a new author, and I've heard this is a really good author. And we'll do one more prompt. Let's see. The next prompt is less than 350 pages. I actually really like that prompt because I'm a big fan of books that are short and easy to read, and I don't like to get too vested sometimes, so that'll be a nice little palate cleanser in between these other books. All right, so I found a romantasy, Mind and Magic by Jenna Wolfhart, which I love all the ones in this series. I haven't got to this one yet. It's made a couple of my TBRs, so this will be the month that I read it. Each year, the chasm-dwelling dwarves compete in a series of trials to find the best among them. Chocolate-loving Astrid has never bothered to enter. She'd rather tend to her garden, bake moss cakes, or search the mines for a way to break her curse, which forever binds her to the mountains. When just so happens there's a competition that I'm guessing will somehow break this curse, she enters it. Yeah, so that'll be the last one. So what we have is a love triangle romance called One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have no idea if this is YA or adult. I'm going to assume adult. Next is Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher, which is a romantasy that sounds like it'll lean more fantasy than it does romance. Mortal Queens, that I'm pretty sure is YA romantasy with a lot of political intrigue that my wife has been tabbing and loving, and I've heard is an amazing duology. the X-Hex, which is a witchy fall vibe romance, where I'm guessing the witch cast spells or hexes on her ex. And yeah, how she gets over them, I'm guessing. And then the last one's the one we just went over, Mind and Magic. Those are all the books I'm going to attempt to read this October. I hope y'all really enjoyed this. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know down in the comments which one of these books you're most excited for me to read. Have a great week.